Okay, I'm going to demonstrate a left-handed long tail cast on. I'm going to show you several different ways of working this. The continental method, that's with the yarn carried in the hand opposite the working needle. For left-handers, that's our right hand. The English way of working this cast on, that's with the working yarn held in the same hand as the working needle. For left-handers, that's our left hand. And I'm going to demonstrate with both of these methods how to do the cast on for standard Western style knitting and for combination and Eastern uncrossed knitting, all left-handed styles, of course, mirror styles. Now, long tail cast on continental method starts with the tail going over the thumb and then over the forefinger, and then wrapping around the little finger, and the tail wraps around the little finger as well to secure it. Leave a long enough tail for however many stitches you want to work, about between ½ inch and 1 inch for every stitch you want to work. Then I haven't started with a slip knot as a lot of people would do. I prefer a simple loop on my needle. I don't like the knotty part of a slip knot. So to make my loop, the yarn that's now running between my thumb and forefinger, I take my needle under that yarn from behind with my needle, and then I twist my needle round to the front of my hand so that twists the yarn round it. I now have a loop on the needle. Long tail cast on. The yarn in front of my thumb is running to my little finger, and the yarn behind my thumb is running to the needle, and it crosses above the yarn in front of my thumb, and that makes a loop. And in long tail cast on, we go into that loop from below with the needle, and then we go and get the yarn that's running from the needle to the forefinger. For Western style knitting, I get it from above. I take the needle behind it from above, and then I pull that yarn down through the loop. That makes a stitch on my needle, and then all that's left to do is to tighten the yarn, the loop around below that stitch. So I let go of the loop with my thumb, and then I take my thumb behind that yarn that's now running to my little finger from the needle. I take my thumb behind that yarn from the right hand side of it and lift it with my thumb, lift it back with my thumb to tighten it. And at the same time, because of the way that I took my thumb behind the yarn, it set it up ready for the next stitch. Do you see? There's a loop now again on my thumb with the yarn running in front of my thumb to my little finger and the yarn running behind my thumb to the needle. And so long tail cast on, up into that loop from below, go get the yarn that's running to the forefinger, bring it down through the loop, let go of the loop, tighten the loop round below the stitch, and at the same time setting up ready for the next stitch. So I'm going to slowly do a few of these stitches, setting these stitches up for Western style mirror knitting. Now, if you're a combination or an Eastern uncrossed knitter, the only thing that you need to do differently is to set up the stitches on your needle with a different mount so that the yarn goes around the needle a different way. And that's really easy to do. The only thing you have to do differently is this. I go up into the, for long tail cast on, we always go up into this loop from below. For combination or Eastern uncrossed knitting, go behind the yarn that runs to the forefinger from below. For Western style knitting, remember, I get it from above, I go behind it from above. You want it to go around the needle in a different direction, so you just go and get it from below, and that's the only thing you need to do differently. Pull the yarn down through the loop on your thumb, let go of the loop, pull the loop tight. So the yarn goes around your thumb the same way, everything around your thumb is working the same way. The only thing that you're doing differently is going behind the yarn that runs to the forefinger from below instead of from above. Now that's long tail cast on with a continental yarn hold. I'm also going to show you long tail cast on with an English yarn hold. That's with the yarn held in the working hand, the hand that holds the working needle, my left hand. The tail yarn goes around my thumb exactly the same way, apart from I like to, instead of wrapping it around my little finger for this method, I just hold it with my fingers. Can you see I've clamped them down over it? But it's going around my thumb the same way. The yarn in front of my thumb is running to those fingers, and the yarn behind my thumb is running to my needle. That makes a loop. The yarn behind my thumb is crossing over the strand in front of it, making the loop. And the same as before, go up into that loop from below. And then with the English yarn hold, we just wrap the yarn around the needle and then pull the yarn down through the loop and let go. All exactly the same as with continental method. The only difference is that we're wrapping the yarn round the needle with the other hand instead of using the needle to pick it up. And I'm wrapping it for English knitting here, up into the loop from below. I'm wrapping it for English style, Western style knitting by taking the yarn below the needle from behind it. So I come from behind to bring the yarn below the needle. But if you're knitting combination or Eastern uncrossed style, then you'll want to wrap the yarn below the needle from in front, which takes it round the needle in a different direction. So below the needle from in front sets the yarn, the stitches up with the right mount for combination or Eastern uncrossed style knitting. So I'll do a few stitches with that different mount. And there you have it. Did I do something different there, or did I just not tighten my loop? I think I just didn't tighten it enough. And that's the long tail cast on.